This is a row of tomatoes I planted about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3, and you can see what it all looks like. We've got tomatoes here, we've got some cornflowers. I think they call them bachelor buttons here. I always called them cornflowers at home. Maybe that's a different plant, but anyway, they're pretty nice. They're not grown on plastic, as you see. And then over here, over this way, we've got some more tomatoes. And let's have a look. Oh, these are Italian tomatoes. We're going to be making tomato sauce. Look at these. They're really taken off and they're doing well. So when you're growing tomatoes, you're meant to take out this little shoot here. You're meant to come along and pull that out, or just rub it with your thumb, and it's meant to, every time you get one of these and it takes off and it gets large, you're investing more sustenance, more goodness and more energy in this sprout than you are in the fruit that you want to form on the plant. So as I say, you're meant to come down like once a week or maybe once every 3 or 4 days and just rub those off. I've not been as good as I should be. I never am, but still, we're doing pretty well. At some point as well, the tomato will keep on going. It'll keep on growing and it'll keep on flowering. And at some point you have to decide at what point where you've got enough tomatoes formed on the vine or on the plant, and that you would have, you're better off having the energy and the water and the sustenance going into those fruits that you've got. So you start to pick out some of the flowers as they're forming later in the season. But for now, I'm so happy just to see these tomatoes coming in here. Look, here's some more. And I'll let these continue to flower for a few weeks yet. We've just had, I think, the 3rd wettest June on record, and as a result of which things have really grown because we've had heat and a lot of moisture. In terms of the weather's been extraordinary. We've had about as I say, the 3rd wettest June, I think, on record. We've had over 10 inches of rain, I believe. It's been extraordinary. I think on an average it's normally sort of 2 to 3 inches, something like that. So it's been a lot of rain. I just wanted to not only show you these wonderful tomato plants, but also talk to you about the black plastic that I've planted these in. The plastic is grown as a means of stopping the weeds coming through and fighting the weeds. If you look at this row of bachelor buttons just down here, you'll see that the crabgrass and buttercups and daisies and things, they all come in really fast. That was weed free a few weeks ago, but as soon as the warm weather arrived and the hot and the rain arrived, the weeds really take off, so you have to be really on top of them. So the black plastic is definitely something that helps in keeping the weeds down. The black plastic generates a lot of heat underneath it, and warm weather plants really enjoy the heat that's generated underneath this black film. Because it's black, it absorbs a lot of sunlight, and the eggplants, the tomatoes, the zucchini, the cucumbers, they all love it. That's why we use it every year in the garden now. And when I first started using the black plastic, it was not biodegradable. So if you didn't put it up at the end of the summer, you'd find it there the following year. This is biodegradable black plastic. I still put it up every year, but I don't feel quite so guilty about sending it to the landfill, because I know it will biodegrade. I'm so pleased with the results I get that I'm prepared to put up with the ugliness of having black plastic in the garden. It might seem a little odd to be using such a sort of high-tech material as the plastic is in your garden, but the results warrant it, and I think it's well worth doing. If we look over here, you can see some peppers that are in the ground here.
Say again? Yeah.
If you look over here, there's some peppers that I've got in the ground here. There's a mixture of red peppers and hot peppers. These ones are jalapenos. As you can see, you do get weeds, but it's so much easier to weed a patch that's 6 inches wide by 6 inches long, as opposed to weeding this whole area. The other thing you'll notice is I'm not actually irrigating this. What I've found is I tried irrigating it the first year. I had soaker hose going underneath the black plastic, and I had enough soaker hose to do about half the rows that I'd built, half the raised beds. And I found that the plants in the raised beds without soaker hose seem to do just as well as the plants without. I guess there's some kind of underground convection from the heat. Water is being pulled up into the rooting area of the plants. I haven't watered these since they went in, and they seem to be just doing fine. I guess enough water falls on the surface of the garden, it sinks in, and then it gets sucked in by the heat that's generated by the black plastic into that area where the plants are growing. So they're doing great without any irrigation. So that's a good thing. So whilst I've been side shooting these tomatoes, I've noticed that the leaves on some of them are turning brown. Do you see that sort of yellowy colour? And what I'm worried about is that a couple of years back that we had quite a wet summer, and we also had some potato blight in this area. This is in New England, and the story went that one of the big companies, who shall remain nameless because I'm not sure who it was, brought in tomato plants from Mexico, and tomato plants get affected by potato blight, and so it is back in this area, having not been around for a number of years, and I think because we've had such a wet June, because it's when you get water, and a lot of water and humidity is when the blight rears its head. It sort of gets rampant and takes off. Both this tomato plant here and this one over here are showing signs of this blight. I'm going to take some advice from a friend of mine who's a farmer. But I hate to say it, if this really is what I think it might be, the best thing to do is actually to take them out of the ground and burn them. If you can't have a fire because it's the wrong season, not burning season, you have to put them in a black sack and get them off the property. I'm hoping that is not the case. I'm hoping that this is not potato blight in my tomatoes, but it's not looking good. I'm a little worried. I'll let you know what happens in a week or so. I will come back and have another look, and if they're not here, it's because I've had to take them out, or if they're still here, it's because I'm hoping that that it's not the blight. But I am going to have to look into what's making these brown out. That's a little scary.